Cute as a cupcake, but the cupcakes are more than just cute, they're delicious. Get by Cute as a Cupcake in Maryville, Indiana at 2008 West 81st. Yes, that's 2008 West 81st, where the cupcakes are more than just cute, they're delicious. And if you're anywhere else, from West Virginia to California, if you're in Montana or you in Texas, you can get them delivered directly to your door. Go to www.cuteasacupcake3.com www.cuteasacupcake3.com and have those cupcakes delivered directly to your door. Good afternoon, and welcome to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I am your host, Kevin King. He is I, and I am him, the 800 Credit Score Man himself. And once again, thank each and every one of you for coming in and listening to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I truly appreciate it. So what are we going to get into today? So we're going to get into a couple of things today on the 800 Credit Score Man Show. We're going to talk about building credit without credit cards. So it's not often that I actually get this question or people question it. It's not often at all. Maybe one of the reasons that it's not that often is because I'm an advocate of utilizing those credit cards to help you build your credit. If you've been listening to the show at all, in ad nauseum, I talk about credit cards and how to use them. And one of the reasons I do is because it is one of the best pillars, if you will, that you can use to manipulate your score. So if you could control what your spending is and what your balances are, and there's several ways that you can do this as far as bringing down your credit utilization, it's a way that you can maneuver this whole credit game and you can get a better score by having credit cards. However, there are a bunch of people, a lot of people, that do not like to utilize credit cards. I used to call them a necessary evil. Said I was going to quit calling them that. But yes, credit cards are necessary for you to have the best score possible. But yes, it is possible for you to have a good credit score without credit cards. So we're going to dive into that today on the 800 Credit Score Man Show. And we're going to talk about protecting yourself from fraud, and the reason even inserting this into the show, because this was not part of it. I originally were going to talk about this whole, getting credit and not using credit cards to do so, but fraud came up this week for someone, and I just want to make sure that everybody out there is protecting themselves. So we're going to talk about that a little bit on the 800 Credit Score Man Show today as well. So we got those things that are popping off, and I got a reminder for you about your collections too. So a lot of things going on in the show today, so we're going to get it in, all right? Thanks again for coming in to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. If you're listening to me, pause right now, share the show with your friends. You know you can come right back and start where you left off. So pause it, share it with your friends and your family. I don't care if you're listening on Spotify. Shout out to the Spotify listeners too. A lot of Spotify listeners have been contacting me, or people are saying and contacting me and asking questions and whatnot, and they have been listening on Spotify. So shout out to all the Spotify listeners out there as well. So so come on in. Let's get it in today on the 800 Credit Score Man Show. You know, I got to give some shout outs, right? I ain't got no little kids today. So, I like to do youngest among us. But I want to give a shout out to Steve Harvey. Nope, not that Steve Harvey with the mustache that you're thinking about, but the Steve Harvey I know, the Steve Harvey, the musician. He celebrated his birthday. So I want to say happy birthday to you, Steve. Tammy Gates, she celebrated her birthday. Happy birthday, Tammy. And one of my most favorite people in the world, one of my favorite people in the Illinois, Chicagoland area, Pam Hereford, she celebrated her birthday. So happy birthday to you, Pam. And Latanya Wilson, she celebrates her birthday as well. So happy birthday to you, Latanya. I got a few more, so y'all stick around to get your shout outs. And if you want a shout out, anniversary, graduation, you just happy you survived the wildfire or whatever it is, you guys give me a hit. 800 at creditscoreman.com is where you can email me, send me your shout outs, or you can contact me, of course, on any kind of platform there is that I'm on. So if it's Instagram, 800 Credit Score Man on Instagram. On Twitter, at Credit Score underscore man on Twitter. If it's Facebook, 800 Credit Score Man, and you can get in that group Credit Score Comeback as well on Facebook. So you guys hit me up. I'm on TikTok and all that stuff. I've never done a TikTok, but I'm on there too, 800 Credit Score Man. So you guys get with me there. All right. So first thing I want to talk about is go ahead. Let's talk about this. Let me remind you about the collections piece first. Let's do that. So it's collections, and I've been telling you for the last month at least, almost every week I've been saying, hey, September is the great time for you to go ahead and take care of these collections, especially if you're trying to negotiate and settle for a lower amount of what that collection is, and especially if you have a big one. So if you got a big collection, and that's relative, whatever it is to you. You know, if it's $1,000 is a big collection to you, that's a big collection. If, it's $4,000, $5,000, $7,000, whatever it is, that's a big collection to me. So what I'm saying to you is it's a good time for you to negotiate for a lower amount and have it removed from your credit report. So I've been mentioning this to you often, maybe way too often, but I want you guys to get that in your head. It is the end of a quarter. September is the end of the third quarter. And some places actually, this is their fourth quarter, if you will. So they start all over as their new year starting in October. So September is a great time for you to start negotiating those. So I want to make sure that you guys remember that. And I think I've always been telling you guys that this year anyway, the 23rd of the month. So it gives you 7 days to get it in, for you to contact them, for them to make a decision. If they want to use snail mail and send you something or what have you, this is the time to do it. So if you've been waiting and you're going to deal with one of these collections or 2, 3, or all of your collections, then this is the time to do it. So September the 23rd, that's next week, you guys start calling those collection agencies, and you should have your plan in hand before you call them. Anticipate some of the things that they might say back to you, the objections, whatever that comeback is. Anticipate those things and have a plan in mind. Write it down if you have to before you give them a call. And if you need some specific instruction on it, contact me. 800 at creditscoreman.com. Contact me. We'll see what we can do to help you out with that negotiation. So I want to make sure we did that. Now, let's jump into this building credit without credit cards. So, can you build credit without credit cards? Of course you can. Of course you can build credit without credit cards, because it's not the only thing that the lenders and that TransUnion, Equifax, Experian are looking for and looking at, and it's not the only thing that FICO looks at, right? You have a mix, so you got credit cards in your mix, and you have regular loans in your mix, like car loans and things of that nature. So yes, you can absolutely build credit without a credit card. But as I mentioned earlier, not necessarily that it's easier, but it's a huge component of what makes up your credit score. So that's why I'm an advocate for having a credit card. I'm not an advocate for debt. I'm not even an advocate for necessarily using them. However, they do help out sometimes. But yes, you can build some credit without having a credit card. What are the ways that you can do that? Well, one of the ways you can do it is to get a personal loan. Yes, and so when I say personal loan, and I have been using that term for quite some time, thinking everybody knew what I was talking about when I said personal loan, and then somebody emailed me one day and said, this particular loan wasn't on their credit report, and through a couple questions and whatnot, this person happened to be talking about a loan that he took out from a loan that he got from a personal friend, or it was a family member. So no, those are not the personal loans I'm talking about. Yes, you know that person personally, but that is not a personal loan that I'm talking about. Personal loan comes from a lending institution. So it can be a bank. It could be, one of those places like OneMain, any kind of place that will give you a loan. That's what they do. It could be one of those places. And I'm not talking about payday loans. Payday loans do not go on your credit report until you screw it up. When you screw up your payday loan, then it'll go on your credit report, as a negative in a collection mode, things of that nature. That's not being reported to your credit reports, not TransUnion, not Equifax, not Experian, on a monthly basis, because your payday loan is supposed to be a payday. So people get paid every week. People get paid every 2 weeks. People might get paid once a month. So since the credit bureaus are only going to be taking your information and putting it on there once a month, payday loans are not a part of that. So when I say personal loan, I mean from an institution, a lending institution. You can get a personal loan. Now, if you don't have any credit at all, of course, the places that you'll have to go, you're probably not going to be able to go to your typical brick and mortar bank like, a Bank of America or PNC, somebody like that. You might have to go to a different kind of institution to actually get a loan, especially if you don't have any credit at all. But personal loans, you can start there. You can have those, and it'll help you build your credit. Why does that help you build your credit? It'll help build your credit because you're going to be making payments every month on that particular loan. So you're going to make the payments, payment history being the biggest or the heavily weighted pillar of them all, with 35% of your credit score. So anything that's on your credit report that you got to make payments to, and you make them on time, that's going to help your credit. You miss payments, that hurts your credit, right? So yes, you can do that. That's why it's going to help you with your credit score. Also, it helps with your credit score. It's half of the mix. So when I talk about mix, it's the revolving and those installment loans. A personal loan is an installment loan. So yes, you get at least some points, if you will, from the mix portion. Now, mix is only 10% of your credit score. However, every point counts, right? Every point counts. And if you've had this personal loan for quite some time, if you're doing a car and you put it on 5 years or 6 years, or even, I don't even know if they're doing 84 months or what have you. If you do that longevity, it helps you with your length of history or your credit age as well. So it does have components that'll help you out. So just like the personal loan, you can also get a credit builder loan. Now, these are for you people that are just starting out. Maybe you don't have any credit at all right now, or if you had some in the past, but your score is kind of low, or what have you. You can do a credit builder loan. And a credit builder loan is typically not at your brick and mortar regular lending banking institution, like I just mentioned, Bank of America, PNC, those kinds of people. Typically, it's at a credit union. So all you got to do is walk in, or at this point, you got to call them. Maybe call them and say, hey, I want a credit builder loan. Now, they'll understand what you mean, even if they call it by a different name. They'll understand what you mean with the credit builder loan. If they don't, then you explain it to them. I need a credit builder loan. From my understanding, here's how it works. How do credit builder loans work? They work similar to, since we were doing this about not having a credit card, they work similar to secured credit cards. Secured credit cards where you give them money up front and that becomes your credit limit, right? But in a credit builder loan, which is even better, especially if you don't have a dime anyway, which is even better, you don't actually get the money. So you go and take out a loan for whatever it is. You take out a loan, let's call it $1,000. You take out that loan, but you don't get $1,000 in your hand. So this is something that people have an issue with. You don't get $1,000 in your hand, but you get a payment plan. So maybe they put it on 12 months. Maybe you put it on 24 months. Whatever it is, this is supposed to help you build your credit. So you quote unquote get this loan for $1,000, but you don't actually receive the money right then, and you have your monthly payment. This is an installment loan. You have your monthly payment. So you make your payment every month. You make your payment. You keep making it, whatever it is, $24 a month, $50 a month, whatever it is. And when you pay it off, that's when they give you that $1,000 that you quote unquote borrowed. And when you're dealing with a credit union, since their whole goal and mission is not like a regular banking institution to make and pull and squeeze every nickel and dime out of you, then they also give you some of, if not all of, the interest that you paid on that particular loan. So you did a loan for $1,000. When it's at the end and they're supposed to give you $1,000, you're probably going to get back a little more than $1,000 when you do a credit builder loan. So that's how that works. So yes, you can get a credit builder loan, and you don't necessarily need to have bad credit to get a credit builder loan. You don't necessarily need to have bad credit to do that. They may put some limitations on it depending on what credit union you go to, So if you got an 800 credit score, perhaps they won't